6 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting to order. The minutes for September 25th and September, well, actually, let's do one at a time. September 25th. Can I get a motion for those?
Make a motion to approve the minutes of September 25th.
Okay, I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, a motion for September 30th meeting.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of September 30th.
I'll
second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I do.
I'd like to abstain, and so both of you.
Yeah.
And what was that,
Yeah,
for?
That was the liquor commission.
Liquor commission.
The extra one, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
And now, speaking of that, I'd like to add two things to this agenda. We have the VLCT renewal for insurance that we have to give Lori permission to sign. We'll put that down under new business. And then we have the Scott Farm having a liquor license, and we'll put that down under new business too, if nobody objects to that. Okay. Moving on to approving the warrants, A8P Recreation Board and the Capital Fund.
Okay, I'll move that we approve warrants 8, 8P, the Recreation Board number 2, and the Capital Fund.
And I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Recognition of visitors. All right. So we'll go to the road foreman's report, and we're going to talk about, I put down the drives on that
How
again.
does that go over on the TV? When the chair walks out of the room.
Excuse me.
They'll be back. Commercial break.
Are you back, Rich? All right.
You're the one that's back, Louis.
No, I meant back on TV.
Oh.
We were a commercial. Nobody knew I left. So, let's talk about, Linda, you were talking about the private drives and roads. And one thing that I did notice that
Just sit over there.
you're more than welcome to come sit up at the table.
Feels weird over there.
No, absolutely. One thing that you had mentioned, and I thought of it after you left, we left and stuff, was you'd mentioned the culvert on being fixed on Greenhouse, they get culverts fixed. And I was wondering if that was one of your issues of the roads.
Well, I called about the culvert
And
because what happened was when they dug out the drains and stuff, they dug out the ditches last fall, and then the water got under there and pushed the culvert up, which has been down for 40 years, so
right.
it's the first time it's come up.
Okay.
So,
But I just wanted to let you know that that culvert that's on the end of your road is the town's responsibility. So I didn't know if you had realized that or not. That
I
is
thought so because it was within 25 feet of the center of the road.
right. So that will, if that does
Help.
create,
It does help, of course.
so that's why I really wanted to bring this back up, is to let you know that it's not just something that we're,
Yeah.
poo-pooing and saying,
Yeah.
we're not gonna,
Okay.
we're
We're
not gonna,
talking about the culvert, he just said they were planning on fixing it.
and that's, and when I say planning on fix, it may not be this fall.
Mhm.
It is on Lee's list, I talked to him,
I
it is,
did.
so it is on
Yeah,
his
because we
list.
knew he'd looked at it a couple times.
And, so, if he can get to it this fall, he may, but don't
Yeah.
expect it to be done this fall. It
I'm
may
just
be.
wondering about the plowing the road with that hopped up like that, but.
So, yeah. So, but other than that, I'm hoping that was one of your main issues with it was,
Well, it's definitely an issue, yeah.
okay. Because, and I talked to Lee more about, taking on roads and getting rid of roads. And, he was into the same opinion that, he didn't think about wanting to take, the town should take on any more roads. And the roads that have been there for years, and, when people bought the roads, they bought them knowing they were on a town road. And
Bought the houses, you mean?
right, when they bought the houses, they knew they were buying on a town road, so they knew what they were expecting.
When
And
I moved there, it was a path.
right, and we were talking about when yours was actually put in, and he was going back trying to remember exactly. He was getting back to his teens when he was figuring out when yours was put in. Your
It was
drive.
Farmer's Home, low-income housing that Farmer's Home gave us a year to build 8 houses. We built them ourselves.
Oh my gosh.
So we were already, financially needy, but they didn't, it was just said that we had to do the road.
Right, and that's, we have another road in town that's the same way, and it says right in theirs that, it will never become a town road. It's right in their deeds. And so that, and
Is that in our deed?
I don't know, I didn't look at your deed or
Find
anything
it.
to that effect, but, and even here nor there with that, it's,
Well, I just talked to different people, like my brother was the head of the town roads in Berry City for many years. And they took on places all the time. He said, if they put in a new development, they took them on right away.
Yeah.
It's according to what I've heard is different towns do different things. And some towns are more amenable to some taking on some. And some towns take them all, and this town seems to be very harsh in their approach. Very harsh about no matter how long it's been there. There's no other consideration,
Right,
that it's just black and white. These have been on and these haven't been.
right.
And that seems like a kind of an inflexible and unfriendly approach. Unrealistic in some ways, that nothing will ever change because everything changes all the time. How you can make a hard and fast rule that fits for everybody is bemusing on my part. I just don't really get it.
Well, like I said, when I said to you, that's why I called you to have you come,
Yeah.
just to
Yeah.
reiterate
Well, I'm happy about that.
about that.
I
and-
am very happy about that and very appreciative about that.
Because like I said, when I left here, I started thinking about that, and then when I called Lee up, I asked him if there was a problem with that, and
Yeah.
he had said
Well,
that,
that's good to know.
it had lifted and stuff. But,
Yeah, just, it's just, I'm very glad about that, but,
right,
it still seems to me like, even if it's not just me, even if it's just in general, that, a situation could be looked at for whatever reason, and things could be more flexible. I think this hard line is kind of hard, to take such a hard line on it, that you're gonna be forced to do whatever for forever,
Right.
It seems
We were hoping that there would be
unforgiving.
some
Yeah.
change after all these years,
Yeah, or
that it wouldn't be
that there was,
permanent.
I know, is there a petition or anything that we could do? Like, could we get other people to sign a petition or something? Would that help?
I let everybody else speak, I've spoken enough,
Right, I don't know what the procedure is.
Yeah.
There are protocols for other things like getting a sign or changing the speed limit or ordinances, there are processes
I'm sure
for
there's some
citizens,
rules.
residents to make that happen, but I don't think there is anything about
Well,
changing the road.
When Larry
I- I
Cassidy
think-
bought the bunker
That-
farm,
Probably.
they moved the road
requires
over.
Some process.
And,
Yeah, but
and
that's a town road.
That was the town road that was.
Yeah, but still, I mean, granted, but a lot of work went into moving it over so his lawn would be bigger or whatever reason it was. It seemed like the only reason at the time. What other reason was
I
there?
don't know.
But there's a cost involved in all this too.
Right,
I mean, your
exactly.
driveway or the roadway would have to be brought up to a state standard.
Right, which is, I think it's wide enough, and I heard that one of the problems was maybe the truck couldn't turn around, but we certainly would make that,
But not only just the state standard of the road,
yeah,
it's your private drive, and then we'd open up to other private drives, then we would have to hire more town crew
right.
to handle the roads
Then
in the
take
winter.
some of the ones off that are.
Well, that's what I was gonna say is, I mean, the town obviously has to be,
Equitable.
equitable and manage our budget properly, so
Right.
we can't just
Which
keep
I
taking
pay
things
into.
on, right?
Yeah.
But, so it's not just a matter of adding something, it's also a matter of which
But then
things come
Geraldine,
off.
you're taking off somebody that bought on a highway.
So.
But
there
then
could
you're
be different
talking
people.
also about appraisals too.
No, I know, but
I mean,
it just
so-
means there needs to be criteria.
Right, that's what I would like to
And
say.
it's,
I don't think there is any now.
no, it's just what was, is.
Right, exactly.
That's the criteria. So it's changing a system. So it's gonna take more than one resident,
Right,
and you could look into Vermont leagues of cities and towns and see if there's
Yeah,
a protocol for changing road designations. But it's gonna take more than one resident who wants this to change for the
Right,
town of
I understand
Dummerston.
that, yes,
Well,
I
let's,
understand that.
let's throw out a motion here to keep Homestead Drive as a private drive. So we can have some discussion.
I'll second it.
What do you mean to
To just leave it at this, keeping Homestead
Why-
Drive private.
Why do we need a motion?
Why?
Or is that where we're at with this, or?
I mean,
It's
well, there's a
already
better motion,
Been a
there's a better
second,
second,
yeah.
so.
So,
I think you,
I'm just a little bit worried, yes, that she can look into it, like Geraldine said, but
But you're silencing me by doing that.
no, I'm just trying to take a foot, I would like to know where the board feels on this. I mean, because you're gonna be opening up a Pandora's box if we start opening up private drives. I mean, personally, I have one myself. Lewis is on a private drive, I mean,
I understand.
you know,
I understand. I understand the whole
so
thing.
there is a concern cost-wise
Right.
on this.
Right, but I think you're, by doing that, by naming my particular road in this motion, you're singling me out.
that's why I mean,
Okay, I would admit, can I amend the motion? Or, no? Yeah.
You could be.
Well, then can we amend the motion that the town won't take over any private drives at this time? Without,
I don't think that's right unless you look into the other ones.
So, that's, Maria, do you accept?
Yep.
Okay. So discussion on that.
Okay, so I think maybe we should, we're just ready to get started on the budget. And that's going to take a lot of time. But we should try to look into, okay, does the town have a policy? What's the protocol for changing the status of roads? I think
Yeah.
this issue has come up before, but it hasn't come up since I've been on the board.
Okay.
So
I thought it came up like last year by somebody.
No.
no.
So I don't know, so I'd
Yeah,
have
it's,
to look into
It's been a real long time, and the last road that was taken on by the town was before my time on the board, and that was, a road that the town had been plowing. It was a road that they thought they had owned, and then they found out they didn't own it, and then they ended up having it given to them, and that's nothing but a headache now, so
Yeah,
it's
so,
one of those
so
things.
that's, my feeling is we need to do some research and get some background information so we know clearly what we're.
I just found an
talking about.
article, The History and Law of Vermont Town Roads, very apropos to our discussion.
And,
I mean, I
I
wouldn't
mean,
be reading a
every
report on it,
single
but-
road
But it talks
in
about this
Dummerston
issue.
is a Dummerston town.
Right,
I mean, I live in Dummerston,
yeah, and
so
that's,
how is,
but that's why you're sitting at this table talking to
Yes,
us, you know?
exactly,
It's a
exactly.
democracy, we're here together.
Exactly,
And so that's why I say it's gonna take more than one person coming to us.
yes,
It's gonna take us to do a little research.
yeah,
Um,
and me too.
but
I
we're
should
in the
do
middle of a
something.
motion, so
Yeah.
I'd like to figure out where we are with the protocol of the meeting.
So we're still having our discussion, so that's part of your discussion.
Okay.
I mean, we're in discussion with it, so, I mean, we can discuss whatever we want about this motion, so
Well, we were veering from the motion, but, yeah.
I don't understand where we were veering from it, but that's all right. So, the motion is that at this time, you wanna read it back, Maria?
Yeah.
Yeah, the motion is that at this time, we keep all private roads as private.
Okay,
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
so, is there any more discussion on this? Okay. All those in favor of the motion of keeping all the private roads at this time private? Say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Opposed?
No.
Okay.
Opposed.
But when you say at this time,
Time.
does that mean from?
There- there's a no-
It
this-
can't be opened back up again.
That means right now, it
Right,
just doesn't
right.
mean, it doesn't mean that it can't change tomorrow,
Mhm, okay,
okay?
Yeah.
And just,
I won't get my nose out of joint then.
yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, I'm not, we can't make a motion for forever.
Right.
It's just a motion for right now that's, you know, I guess I don't want you to
I
feel,
appreciate your time
you know.
and your efforts on our behalf, I really do.
So it's up for further investigation and discussion.
If you guys wanna do your investigation and come back to the town and, you know, get the rest of the town involved and go out and get,
Well, I'd
You know?
rather not do that, but I could. I mean, I just didn't know what the best approach, like you said, we need more people
right,
to feel it out, so,
right, and that's,
I mean,
I guess the motion too is to let you realize, I mean, cause at the last meeting, after the last meeting, I left confused. Myself thinking, are they thinking that there's a possibility that the town truck could be coming down to plow their driveway this winter? You know, and so I didn't know that, and I didn't want you guys to feel
we've,
that might be
no, I
happening.
told,
No, we
I
don't
told
want the
her,
driveways done, just the road.
yeah, I told her we hired somebody to do the road, but, because, you know, it's getting close.
Right.
So we never
And
thought
that's
that
why I
would
wanted to-
happen this year,
Get right back on top of
Yeah.
this right now before that time,
yeah.
so.
All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
And if it comes up again, will you let us know?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
All right, the heat pumps.
What had?
For the town office, we had 2 bids.
Six, they're just cooking.
The bids were asked to have, basically, to flip the switch, and they were gonna be working, so electrical, the outside work, everything done. And, the bid that I ended up taking was from Gas Energy, because he actually had the electrical in it, and it's, where was it? 3,600, yeah, Yeah, $3,603.66.
Wow.
Can you do
And,
it this fall?
and he's gonna be doing it in November. So, he's gonna get back with us exactly when he can get that in. And that's,
For one unit over on that wall?
on that wall, right where there's a file cabinet over there, and, so, and that's what, the other bid, I think was gonna be the same price, but his electrician got his hand caught in a wood splitter, so he wasn't sure, you know, when the electrician could get to it, so that could prolong that.
And what, units, what manufacturer? is it?
It's a Daikin, and both these gentlemen were like these because you can get them right at Webb, and the parts are readily available there for anything. And they've had, one of them's been doing it since 2000, I think 2001, and he said nothing but good luck with these. So, and they were both doing the Daikin, and they both really, you know, they were pretty high on those. So.
That's information from the people who install.
And well, they install other heat pumps besides this one. They do more than just the Daikin. And I talked to 2 people that have had them and actually like them. So I think it's, so and like I said, they gave a price for cleaning for 2 years if you wanted the cleanings done by them. One of them said he'd do it for 2 years at $110 a year, and the other one was was for 1 year and it was $110. So they were doing the same. Right.
Yeah.
And the warranties?
I wish I had written that down. It was, and they don't say the warranty on here. I'd have to talk to Lee about it again because I don't want to say the wrong warranties on them, but and Lee's not here to tell me what it was. So.
Well, I have to say that I'm a little disappointed that we asked the Energy Committee to do a lot of research and then we didn't take their advice. So I don't know. They recommended the Mitsubishi as opposed to the Daikin, feeling it was more reliable, it had better reviews, it had a good warranty. They did a lot of research and then we didn't follow their.
And when I texted them for their information, I asked him that he was more than welcome to be involved with me going forward with this. So we sat here as a select board and I brought this up that it was Daikin and nobody objected, nobody said anything else. I received an email today from the Energy Committee saying something about a Mitsubishi after the fact that it was already put out there that we'd already said we were going to do this. So, and it's pretty hard for me to say that we put it out there, we've been talking about it, and the email I sent to the Energy Committee was that they were more than welcome to help out further with this. And for you to sit here and say that we didn't follow that is a little upsetting to me because I did ask them to be involved more and their prices were not there. They said it wasn't worth it. And when I talked to them, they said if you could get the price down to this price, then it's worth it. They never told me that they preferred the Mitsubishi until today when I got an email.
Well, I think there was a gap in the timing. So we asked them last year to do research and they did, and they provided quite a lot of research. But then things changed.
After we asked them to provide it, it took the town clerk to call them up and say, what's going on with this heat pump? You guys said all this, you went to town meeting, you had the town put in for $10,000 for it. They went because there was no air conditioning, called up the Energy Committee, and the Energy Committee said, well, maybe you ought to just put your AC in because we don't have all the information that we need. So it's a little disconnect there too.
Okay.
So, I think for you to say that we didn't do it, you had just as much time to say, let's go with something different, when I brought up the fact that we were gonna go with this.
Well, I was a little confused. I mean, I thought the Energy Committee had provided us with a lot of information and said, you know, gave their recommendation, but then it seemed like you and Lee went and did your own research and then.
Well, because they sat there and said it wasn't feasible to do it, because because it was too expensive. Their
Right.
price was too expensive, and that's when I said the price, I think, went down, and at our all meetings board, I talked to Eric, and I said to him, I said, I think you guys should reinvestigate the pricing on this, because the prices of these have gone down dramatically.
Mhm.
And after that, I never heard a thing, and then that's when Lori called him about the AC, and then that's when we got the letter saying that they didn't think it was feasible to do it, because it was $10,000, and it wouldn't be, and I think that was right in an email he sent us.
I think what I understood they said was the payback wasn't a strong rationale for getting them, but there are other reasons why you would want to put this system in for the comfort of the people, and if the town office staff wants it, that's a good rationale. I didn't realize that you asked them to look at the pricing again, and then they fell down on that part. It sounds like they didn't follow up on
I asked
looking at that.
I asked them at that meeting to recheck the prices, because I said, I know they're down dramatically from what you
And that
guys.
didn't happen.
I can't say, obviously it didn't, or I can't say obviously it didn't. I didn't see it happening because they didn't give any other prices. And then I emailed them asking them for the information, and I said, you're more than welcome to, I wouldn't mind your help on this.
Mhm.
And I didn't receive a response,
Okay,
so
okay.
It was my understanding that if you could save 30%
30%.
off the 10,000, then the Energy Committee considered it
Good.
a viable
Viable.
project. And clearly, from this price, it's
Oh,
Way
yeah,
beyond
way, no,
beyond-
definitely, I mean, it's an
30%.
amazing price.
I
It's
mean,
an amazing price. So, and if they get good reviews and it has a good warranty,
I know.
we're in good shape.
So, all right. Any other discussion on that? Okay. Correspondence for information. Anybody have anything they'd like to bring up on that? Okay. Correspondence for discussion and or action, the National Prescription Opioid Litigation. Did everybody get a chance to see
Boy, did I
that?
read that.
Was that fun reading?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Very informational.
So, anybody have any desires? I think if we don't do anything, we're in it and it's not gonna harm the town. Correct? I mean, if we don't do anything,
It's hard to tell.
So we have to make a decision by November
we're 22nd.
22nd.
22nd, so.
I mean, we could kick it down the road, but we could
I'd say
also,
give it- Yeah.
or,
maybe-
I mean, did you see something you think that maybe we should try to get out of it? A reason to get out of it? I mean, I don't wanna kick something down the road that if we don't think we have to, we could take care of it and just, I mean,
I thought kicking it down the road just for another meeting to read through it more carefully.
I
okay.
mean, Terry's ridden,
I read through it
Read
too.
it.
Yeah,
Pretty carefully.
but, and I've still got questions with it, especially if, with that class action, if there's not enough money and it gets pooled and there's a class master and somebody else takes
Yeah,
over
but
with
somebody
it.
else gets the money, it just doesn't come to the, if it's under the $500, then it goes, if it's not, it goes to a different place. We don't get any of it, but, I mean, I don't know,
What-
like I said.
what's the disadvantage of opting out? That
That's
we don't
the-
get something less than $500?
Yeah, if it's under $500, we get nothing.
Okay.
And do we need anything from it? I mean, I guess my confusion is, it's more paperwork to opt out of that. Cause you
Then to
have
stay in it.
to stay, cause if you stay in it, you just don't do anything.
The only thing I was questioning is if, say we stayed in it, if we did get more than the 500, is there anything that we're gonna be obligated to do
No.
with, you know, I mean, are we getting a course or?
No, I mean, it didn't sound like,
Doesn't
it didn't sound like,
explain it.
right, it didn't sound like there was any,
It seemed like if there was more than $500, we would apply
To get it.
someone to, and, you know, we'd have a need that we could demonstrate.
Right,
Get this, you know, funds for some project we wanted to run or something to mitigate the
The
effects of the opioid.
I don't think it really relates to Dummerston. I don't know,
I
to our
don't know
town.
about,
well, I wouldn't, yeah, we've had our,
and everything's coming this way. So
it
it's,
is,
it's one of those things where,
so I guess I wouldn't opt out.
wouldn't,
that was my
Yeah.
feeling, is I wouldn't opt out and.
it really,
We'll see what happens.
see what happens.
Right.
Yeah.
My sense was that the two of you, in
Well,
talking about it before the meeting,
it
were
was-
more leaning towards opting out.
Mainly because this could drag on for years and we end up with nothing. you
Yeah.
know.
But we don't do anything
But-
either.
Right, well,
Well,
for this first
For
round.
this first round, I mean,
Right.
there'll be stages to this.
So, I mean, if somebody, do you want to, everybody go, I mean, I read through it twice now.
I
because
did, no
didn't
minutes.
Because I didn't initial it the first time, so I read through it again, and I'm like, gosh, I thought I already read this.
Yeah.
I
But
mean, my way of dealing with something like that would be to talk to somebody who knows what the consequences are. I think even if I read it, I wouldn't understand what the consequence is of opting out or staying in. So I'd have to talk to somebody that knows more than I do.
Would you like to do that? Take that and talk?
Who is it that, who's the person that, or who's the organization? Is there a contact
I wonder
person?
if VLCT might
Yeah,
offer some advice.
yeah.
If you'd like to take this and, I mean,
Today's the 9th, so our next meeting is the 23rd.
Right.
Mhm. We do have some time.
I mean, and we have until the 22nd of November.
November.
I mean, I'd be happy to call, if I know who to call, I don't wanna have to figure out who to call, but if you think
I
VLCT
think that'd
would
be a
have
good
some
advice.
advice for us, I'd be happy to get some advice.
Okay,
That'd be
Yeah,
good.
that'd be great.
Yeah,
I'll do
good,
that.
thank you.
okay. So, new business, library board resignation. Do we, everybody saw that? So, we wanna make a motion to accept this resignation?
I'll make a motion to accept the resignation of the library board member Torry Luker.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Just like to thank her for her time, and, so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, Wyndham Regional Commission Representative appointment. Anybody like to make a motion on
I'd
that?
like to move that we appoint Caleb Kissling to the, as one of the two of our Dummerston WRC representatives.
I'll second that.
Okay, discussion? Seems like a very knowledgeable man on this, and I think it'd be a good fit. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so then the renewal,
This is it.
yeah, renewal for insurance from VLCT. This is something that Lori has to sign, but we have to approve to give her the, to sign it.
So I'll move that we give Lori the authority to renew the passive insurance program.
I'll second that.
Discussion? She gave me a note and said everything looks about the same. The overall property valuation increased by 1.88%. But and other than that, everything else stayed the same. So, okay. Any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Geraldine, this is for you. Commission.
So I'd like to move that we recess as the select board and convene as the liquor control board.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Got a request from the, who is it? Wyndham Wines wants to do a catering job for the, what is it?
Scott Farm?
Literary festival. Yeah, dinner. Trying to read the writing here. At the Scott Farm. So do I have a motion? And that is, they're expecting 100 people. It's from 7 to 9:30 on 10, well, that was when they.
19th?
Yep.
I'll make a motion to approve the liquor license request from Wyndham Wines for an event at the Scott Farm on 10/19.
I'll second that.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Is that the only business? So I'd like to move that we adjourn as the liquor control board and reconvene as the select board.
Perfect.
I'll second that.
All right. Anybody else have any new business, unfinished business they'd like to talk about? All right.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
Perfect.
Okay.
Nice. All right, Rich, we're all set.